Details on those stories and more in just a moment. But first, a check of your Weather on the One's forecast.
Even at 9 o'clock at night, the streets of this community are generally crowded with people, especially during the holidays. So a stranger taking two small children into an alley like this one didn't go unnoticed. Investigators say that an adult came over here to see what was going on, and that was enough to scare away the suspect. Well, Frederica, investigators are focusing their attention on a space heater and the power strip it was plugged into in the basement. While the exact cause isn't known, everyone knows for sure that 8 of the 9 people who died were children. The oldest was 7, the youngest were 2 babies just 6 months old. The blaze got started about 11 p.m. yesterday and raged for a couple of hours before firefighters were able to get it under control. It burned primarily in the basement and on the first floor.
The fire department fired Chapman 1 year later after denying her workers' compensation claim, all the time saying there was no evidence to support that she'd even been exposed to ticks while on the job. Well, that wasn't exactly true.
March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. Or is it the other way around? More than halfway through the month, with all this snow on the trees and on the ground, it's tough to tell.
With sirens wailing and Patriot missiles firing, the people who live here may have good reason to be afraid that Saddam Hussein will not only continue to strike back, but strike here, punishing the country that provided a sheath for a now drawn U.S. sword. In Kuwait City, Anthony Ramsay.
The air assaults from the sea are still considered the jab and hook of this fight. And as the battle for Baghdad rages, there's still confidence among U.S.-led forces.
Today's actually not so bad. Visibility is about 10, maybe 20 feet. That's 3 or 4 car lengths if you're driving. You have to constantly wear something over your nose and mouth to keep from eating or even breathing it.
The fate of Wall Street continues to be debated in the nation's capital and around the world. After suffering an initial defeat in the House of Representatives, a revamped $700 billion bailout package is approved by the Senate. ONN's Marley Hall reports. While presidential rivals Barack Obama and John McCain continue to square off on their differences on how to fix the economy, more than 30 million people tune in to watch their running mates square off. Governor Sarah Palin and Senator Joe Biden clashed on a number of topics in their debate Thursday night, including who's the most qualified to be the commander-in-chief. Meanwhile, a recent poll shows that Senator Obama is pulling ahead of Senator McCain in 3 key battleground states. The Quinnipiac survey has Barack Obama at 50% or higher in Pennsylvania, Florida, and Ohio. Christian University in Oregon says it has suspended 4 students who they say confessed to hanging an effigy of Senator Barack Obama from a tree on the school's campus. A George Fox University spokesperson says that all 4 students were given, quote, immediate long-term suspensions, but the FBI is still investigating. Doctors say that Jacksonville Jaguars offensive lineman Richard Collier is paralyzed below the waist and has had his left leg amputated. The 26-year-old tackle suffered 14 gunshot wounds to the back after he was targeted by a gunman from a moving car. Police say that Collier and teammate Kenneth Petaway were intended targets, but right now they don't have an exact motive and no arrests have been made. In our News Now World Wrap, skepticism continues to swirl in Africa after a new U.S. command takes over military operations on the continent. AFRICOM is a multinational force that was formed a year ago to cut down on terrorism, ethnic violence, and international crime. Critics say that AFRICOM is more interested in promoting U.S. interests rather than that of Africans. Pakistani forces continue to fire on U.S. helicopters that are patrolling the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. This is apparently a new effort by U.S. forces stepped up in the region to try to find or kill Osama bin Laden, who's believed to be hiding in Pakistan. The Pakistani government denies any direct involvement in those shootings. That's your World Wrap. But entertainment news has a bit of international flavor. Spike Lee's new movie, Miracle at St. Anna, is sparking protest and outrage in Italy. Lee's 2.5-hour epic about 4 black soldiers caught behind enemy lines depicts a partisan rebel collaborating with Nazis who massacred innocent civilians at a church. Lee says that he's not apologizing and didn't invent anything in his film, which is an adaptation from a book by James McBride. The Samuel L. Jackson thriller Lakeview Terrace was 3rd at the box office this week, coming in with just under $7 million in ticket sales. came in behind Eagle Eye at number 1 and Night at the Redonde at number 2. Spike Lee movie we talked about, Miracle at St. Anna, opened in a disappointing 9th place with $3.1 million. Tyler Perry's The Family That Prays came in at 10th with $2.9. That's your Our News Now Rewind for this week. I'm Gary Anthony Ramsay.
Now, this is just into the New York One newsroom. The FBI and Port Authority are announcing an arrest of a former Kennedy Airport employee in a terror plot to blow up a jet fuel pipeline. The arrest was made last night. The former employee is from Guyana, and investigators, or at least sources, are telling New York One that he tried to recruit an FBI informant to help him with the plot. Investigators, or at least through the sources, are saying that this plot was in its very early stages. The suspect, who's, as we said, from Guyana, met with at least one radical group in Trinidad, and Trinidadian officials have made several arrests there. There is a press conference scheduled for 1 p.m. We'll, of course, bring you all the information from that presser as it happens. Once again, a terror plot targeting a jet fuel pipeline at Kennedy Airport has been foiled with the arrest of one former Kennedy Airport employee last night. Keep it right here on New York One for more information as this story develops.